Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Our prelude this morning has Reverend Meg Barnhouse, who's our guest today. You want to tell them about the song? Mm-hmm.
Well, I was living in a small town in South Carolina, and the liberal ministers would get together once a month to talk to each other, and all 5 of us would have lunch. And I remember somebody saying, "How are you doing, Meg?" And I said, "Well, I've been thinking mango thoughts in a meatloaf town." And then I wrote this song. Well, I am so glad I found you. I was out here on my own. Couldn't find a single church where I could feel at home. I was just amazed to see you'd been here for so long. Grateful that you persevered, so I wrote you all this song. I was thinking mango thoughts in a meatloaf town. The food for thought was all the same. It really brought me down. Nothing on the heavenly buffet line was satisfying my appetite for truth and light. I sit in church just sighing. Everybody else seemed fine with blue jello and green peas, banana pudding, nothing spicy, no blitzes, no Vietnamese. I was craving jalapeno talk just to soothe my soul. Saying unsurprising things was taking all my self-control. I am glad the talk is straight here, though a lot of the people are not. We got patriots and protesters, and that ain't all we got. Atheists and redneck Hindus. We got pagan, Buddhist, Jews. Some of us love the Christian songs, and some just believe the blues. Yeah, I was thinking mango thoughts in this meatloaf town. But now my soul is on a roll. I got UUs all around. We got us a feast for the spirit and a feast for the mind. Because we speak the truth, we walk in love, we remember to be kind. And that's how the song would end if I were a sweet and earnest minister. And God knows I try. But here's the real ending. We had us a feast for the spirit and a feast for the mind. But in case of rapture, pack a snack, 'cause we'll be left behind.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. My name is Jerry Wagnon, and I am serving as your worship assistant today. I come to this church because it connects and sustains me. It connects me to a community of people striving for social justice and looking for growth and meaning in our lives. It sustains me in my work for a more just and sustainable world with spiritual nourishment for this immense task. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We also strive to welcome people across diversities of race, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. We are also a congregation working for reproductive justice. So, whoever you are, wherever you have come from, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. To learn more about our community and what is happening, you can join our email list and our monthly newsletter. And you can also find us on social media by searching UUCBV. Today, Pastor Kiya is preaching on enough. We also want to welcome our special guest, Reverend Meg Barnhouse, who will be singing with Pastor Kiya today.
Our call to worship this morning comes from Barbara Wells, and she says, "O spinner, weaver of our lives, your loom is love. May we who are gathered here be empowered by that love to weave new patterns of truth and justice into a web of life that is strong, beautiful, and everlasting."
Please say our chalice lighting words with me. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. Now, all please join me in saying our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
This is a song that I wrote on tour when I was driving across the prairies over and over and over again. It's called "Keep Me Simple." We drove 500 miles of prairie, the sky's gone green with a storm. My baby pulls up against me, pull the sleeping bag over, keep us warm. The earth has many treasures, more than I can count, and I trade my golden measure for the gold of the sun, or a campfire going out. Keep me simple, keep me true. Keep my mind on the things I'm supposed to do. Open prairie, sea of sky. I'll ride these roads as my years go by. Y'all are welcome to sing if you want. You can see the words up there, especially on the chorus. I think you can get it right away. I'm a minstrel girl with a minstrel's way, walking wagon tracks. Grandma's made, touch the earth and feel her grief. Spirit there makes me believe. I want to learn to sing these songs, trace my feet from moccasins. I'll read the wind, which grass grows, following the buffalo. Keep me simple, keep me true. Keep my mind on the things I'm supposed to do. Open prairie, sea of sky. I'll ride these roads as my years go by. So in a picture of a wishing chair, stare at those two women there, strong with age, nothing to hide, see the magic in their eyes. I wish for those weathered hands, years of living with the land. I'll plant the trees, sing the songs, promise I will carry on. Keep me simple, keep me true. Keep my mind on the things I'm supposed to do. Open prairie, sea of sky. I'll ride these roads as my years go by.
Yell really loud, but just so it's not like I'm yelling at you. Hey everybody, our Time for All Ages today is from the multi-generational program Miracles, and it's part of our Tapestry of Faith curriculum, and it's called Micah and Luis. Luis lived in the Arctic Circle with his parents who were researching the effects of global warming. Luis wondered about that as he went out for a walk. He didn't think there was much global warming going on today. It didn't feel warm to Luis, who was bundled up in a snowsuit, mittens, hats, and boots. Luis came across a very large polar bear. She looked really sad, and Luis felt sorry for her. And so he went over to her to ask why. The polar bear said she was sad because her habitat was shrinking. Wait, what's a habitat? Luis asked. Why, your habitat is where you live. The Arctic is my habitat, responded the polar bear. It's everything you see around you, the ice and the sea and the glaciers. It has food, shelter, everything I need to live a healthy life and raise a polar bear family. Well, why is it shrinking? Luis asked. Well, Micah replied, my habitat needs to be cold. I like it that way, and so do the fish I eat. But the climate around here is getting warmer. I actually think it's plenty cold here, said Luis. But I know about global warming. My parents study that. It's because of people cutting down rainforests and drilling deep into the earth to get coal and oil, right? Micah nodded sadly. That's part of it. Take it from me, our winters are not what they used to be, she said. Winters are shorter now, ice melts faster than it ever has before. That means that polar bears like me are now running out of places cold enough to live, hunt, and raise our cubs. If we don't have anywhere to live, we may vanish from the earth forever. And mine is not the only habitat in trouble. Oceans are warming up, wild forest lands are getting smaller. Many species are threatened because the world is changing so rapidly. That's awful, replied Luis. What's causing global warming? Well, the earth is warming up because of the way humans have used it. Like you said, cutting down trees, drilling into the earth, and no offense, but everyday things you do at home can contribute to the problem. And in turn, they do hurt me and my environment and the whole planet. Like what? Asked Luis. I'm just a kid. Well, if you ride in a gas-powered car or leave lights on in your house when you don't need them, everyday things like that can make a difference, said Micah. Leaving the heat on too high or the air conditioning down too low, taking long showers and leaving computers and phone chargers plugged in on standby instead of shutting them off. Those things hurt you? Yeah, they can hurt us. The energy to run all of those devices or to heat your water or run your car isn't free. It comes from oil or coal that is taken from the earth and burned in great big factories. When the factories make fuel, they also make a lot of waste, pollution, and chemicals that go into our air and water. Forests are cut down to make room for things like cattle that people want to eat, or more space for people to live, work, and play. I had no idea, said Louise. Humans really are just starting to understand the impact they have on everyone's habitat, said Micah. Really? Well, I want to help. What can I do? There's lots of things that you can do to help, Louise. If you remember to turn off your lights and unplug your phone chargers when you're not using them, you'll use less electricity. That helps. Wear a sweater inside when it's cold and you won't need to turn up the heat so high. Take short showers. It saves a lot of water and energy. Louise wondered how a polar bear knew so much about humans' habits. She told him to recycle everything he could, from plastic and paper to clothes that had gotten too small to electronics he didn't play with anymore. Make sure you give them to somebody who can use them, or make new things out of your old stuff. Micah told Louise that the way the polar bears use the earth fits right in with the other species that share their habitat. For example, I always swim or walk or float on an iceberg to get where I'm going, she said, but humans use their cars a lot, and airplanes and buses, she said. If you can walk, bike, or skate where you're going, that can help. Buy food that is grown or made near where you live and doesn't have to ride to your town on a truck or a train. Remember, we are all connected in the interdependent web of life. Gosh, Micah, I'm sure glad I ran into you. I learned a lot about global warming and climate change. Louise went back to find his parents to tell them all he had learned. And now if you'll join with me in singing our kids out to RE with hymn number 118, This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good singing. Do you all let the light out? Is it bothering y'all? Okay, we'll leave it on there. That way people don't fall over. This prayer comes from Hildegard of Bingham. If you don't know who she is, she's a 12th century abbess. She ran a nunnery, and lots of kings and nobles talked to her all the time. She advised lots of people. She was a composer. Anyway, she was very cool. Check her out. She lived at 1095 to 1179, and she said this prayer: Fire of the Spirit, life of the lives of creatures, spirit of sanctity, bond of all natures, glow of charity, lights of clarity, taste of sweetness to the fallen, be with us and hear us, composer of all things, joy in the glory, strong honor, be with us and hear us. And now we have a moment of beloved community. I have a quote this morning from Desmond Tutu. We're going to do this in our services from now on. Just something to think about as we're working toward a more beloved community. We are living in a historic moment. We are each called to take part in a great transformation. Our survival as a species is threatened by global warming, economic meltdown, and an ever-increasing gap between rich and poor. Yet these threats offer an opportunity to awaken as an interconnected and beloved community. Reverend Desmond Tutu. Now is the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns. This is not really a time for announcements, but if you would like to come up and light one of our electronic candles and tell everyone what your joy or concern is, now's the time to do that. Hey, good to see you. Yeah. Hey, Barry. How do you do that? Just turn on. There you go. Awesome. This one's got a mind of its own. This little light of yours, it doesn't want to work. There we go.
So my joy is that Julius Jones his sentence was commuted. I don't know if you know who he is, but he was on death row in Oklahoma, and the governor finally got around at the last minute, like 4 hours before he was supposed to be executed, and commuted his sentence to life in prison without parole. So that gives him a chance to try to get a new trial because he is innocent. Good to see you.
We'll light one for all the unspoken joys and unspoken sorrows. My joy is that my wife Meg came with me this Sunday on her Sunday off. This is for everybody who's keeping it to themselves. This one's not the old. Try a bigger one.
Our responsive reading today is by Henry David Thoreau, To Live Deliberately. It's number 660 in the back of the hymnal. I'll read the words in plain print, if you can read the words in italics. Why should we live in such a hurry and waste of life?
We are determined to be starved before we are hungry.
I wish to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life.
I wish to learn what life has to teach me, and not when I come to die, discover that
I do not wish to live what is not life. Living is so dear.
nor do I wish to practice resignation unless it's quite necessary.
I wish to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life.
I want to cut a raw swath, to drive life into a corner, and reduce it to its lowest terms.
If it proves to be mean, then to get to the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meanness to the world.
Or if it is sublime, to know it by experience, and to be able to give a true account of it. This song is a dialogue between me and a medieval saint named Julian of Norwich. What she said was, "All will be well." And I'm the type of person that I just had to fight with her about it. And this song is our discussion. The chorus, should you choose to accept it, is your job. And it goes like this. All will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And I said, Julian, do you not know about sorrow? Julian, do you not know about pain? And I said, Julian, do you not know about hunger? And Julian, do you not know about shame? And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And I said, Julian, do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know about disease? I said, Julian, do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much, it's brought me to my knees. But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about sorrow, and no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger, and no one does not know about shame. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about loneliness, and no one does not know about disease. She said, no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know, it's too much. It brought me to my knees, where I heard, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, baby girl, do you not know about tenderness? And baby girl, do you not know about friends? She said, baby girl, do you not know about the spirit? And she said, baby girl, do you not know it's only love that never ends, love never ends. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well.
How much is enough? Merriam-Webster defines enough as in or to a degree or quantity that satisfies or that is sufficient or necessary for satisfaction. What things and needs do you feel are enough for you? Is this only a practical question, or is there something deeper, like an inner dilemma involved? How does acquiring stuff make us happy? Or are we almost permanently dissatisfied? Always craving more money, bigger houses, more tech, better cars, more vacations, more stuff. Are we comfortable with only some having all the stuff? And what are our responsibilities to our neighbors, to other countries, to the planet herself? What happens if only a few people have all the resources? I know this sermon is asking some uncomfortable questions. I can tell because my stomach is in a knot. But our resources are limited. I think our grandparents and older ancestors thought that the earth's resources were unlimited forever. I know this sermon is a challenge for sure. Kenneth Bowling in 1973 said, anyone who believes exponential growth can go on forever in a finite world is either a madman or an economist. So what can the earth support? According to world counts, the way the consumer society is working is not sustainable. We are currently overusing Earth's natural resources with more than 70%. That's how much we're using right now. And if everyone on Earth lived like the average American, we would need 5.2 planets to support us. The number is 3 if everyone lived like the average Japanese, and about 3.3 if we lived like Europeans. And the number of people in the consumer class is growing. In a period of just 13 years, the number of people in the consumer class will increase by over 2 billion people. The size of the global middle class will increase from 3.5 billion in 2017 to 5.6 billion by 2030. Most new consumers will come from Asia, with China and India being the main drivers of the growth. Our ways of living and our overconsumption is an emergency. We currently have 1.7 billion members of the consumer class. People are incurring debt and working longer hours to pay for the high consumption lifestyle, consequently spending less time with family, friends, and the community organizations that mean something. The 5.6 billion consumers in the world by 2030 will result in a massive increase in the demand for energy, food, electronics, clothing, transportation, housing, furniture, and so on. In fact, there'll be no more rainforests, no water, no fish in the ocean. We have to act and we have to change our ways. So what are some of the possible solutions? To lower our individual footprints, we could adopt a more minimalist, you've heard that term before, or voluntary simplicity, maybe you've heard that in the 90s. That was a big phrase. That approach. The good news is these changes can lead to more fulfilling lifestyles and general happiness. At a certain point, having more stuff does not make you happy. They've actually done studies. Everybody kind of wants 20% more than they've got. They think, oh, if I just got that 20% more, I'd be happy. I'd have what I need. It's never true. In the music business, the people who are playing arenas always wanted to have world tours. And the people who were playing in the smaller clubs always wanted to play in the arenas. And the people who were playing the small clubs, they were not happy. They thought they weren't being treated where they needed to be. Everybody always feels that way. Maybe you feel that way? It's possible. The goal is to focus not so much on sacrifice, but on how to provide a higher quality of life using the lowest amount of raw materials. We need to change the way we produce goods and the way we consume them. Maybe you've heard of this 100 thing challenge by Dave Bruno. He says, try to get your possessions, your personal possessions, down to 100 things. If you have a collection, like a set of china, that's one thing. But see if you can get yourself down to 100. Or if you have a whole lot of stuff, maybe start with a little bit, just a smaller number. And if you've only got 100 possessions, maybe try for 50. See what you can do. It's a big challenge, right? It'd be hard. It'd be hard to do. many guitars we got, Ken? Quite a
It's
few.
a collection.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. Trying to reduce your individual possessions to 100 things, that's going to be hard. Now, quiet the digital noise. Live within your means. That is a very un-American idea, to live within your means. Declutter your life. Get rid of anything that does not bring you joy or isn't essential to your well-being. What's that woman's name from Japan? That's her. Yes, exactly. Find the beauty in less. Appreciate little things and practice gratitude. I know we're trying to do that, to try to say 3 nice things before you say something critical. It's hard to do. But habits of attention, you'll start noticing more happy things in the world if you pay attention to being grateful for the things that are good in your life. It changes your whole perspective. As the Taoists say, focus on self-knowledge and good deeds. The Greek philosopher Diogenes said, the simple life is necessary for virtue. Voluntary simplicity, also called compassionate living, is a lifestyle choice that minimizes the needless consumption of material goods and the pursuit of wealth for its own sake. Many benefits can be realized when one chooses voluntary simplicity, including feeling more in control of your life, reducing your financial stress, minimizing the desire for material goods, scaling down and slowing down, creating more free time for friends and family and hobbies, reducing stress caused by a career, reducing your carbon footprint, creating mental space to focus on fulfillment. Many famous persons throughout history argued and practiced voluntary simplicity, including Jesus, Gandhi, St. Francis, Henry David Thoreau, Rabindranath Tagore, Leo Tolstoy, Confucius, Buddha, and Mohammed. That's quite a collection of folks to emulate. See old products not as waste, but as a resource that can be reused or recycled. Consumer culture, which is the consumption of, buying, or selling of goods driven by social norms, is responsible for 10% of the greenhouse gases emissions in the world. Cars and other forms of transportation account for nearly 30% of world energy use and 95% of global oil consumption. Try to avoid plastics. Plastic is derived from crude oil. Banning plastics put pressure on its producer, the fossil fuel industry. Plastic bans also bring attention to climate change, pushes customers to reuse, and encourages businesses to create reusable options. I know that there's a lot of work happening with mushrooms, using mushrooms to make containers that will do the same thing that plastic was doing. There's people out there doing it. In fact, there's 8th graders inventing ways for styrofoam to become a water filter system instead of just being waste. Invest in your schools, invest in the 8th graders. They're awesome. So you can eliminate food waste, that helps a lot. Americans throw away up to 40% of the food they buy. We can combat food waste by shopping for what we need, eating leftovers, composting scraps, and donating excess food to the food banks. You can find a local food bank at feeding-america.org. Project Drawdown estimates that curbing food waste could avoid a whopping 70.5 gigatons of CO2. That's a big impact. That restoring 435 million acres of tropical rainforest. If you can eat plant-based. Even just make one day a week your vegetarian day, or just one meal. That'll be a start. Transitioning to a vegetarian diet can cut your carbon footprint in half. And going vegan even lower. Even shifting from high to low meat consumption can shrink your footprint by 1/3. That's according to the University of Oxford. If half of the world's population reduced meat consumption and avoided the associated deforestation caused by agriculture, we could reduce carbon emissions by 66 gigatons. That's a humongous amount. Use clean energy where you can. We're really blessed in Texas to have lots of options for solar. I have solar at my house. They took the money that we were paying the electric company and used that as the payment on the solar panels. Didn't cost us any money out of pocket. Check into it, it's out there. Participate in the democratic process. Vote for climate activists, support comprehensive climate policies, and use your citizen voice to contact legislators when you disagree. The results of upcoming elections will determine how Americans and their elected leaders grapple with catastrophic climate change. It makes a big difference who you vote for. Divest. Those of y'all who have holdings, the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions come from fossil fuels. Divest means taking your money out of institutions that fund fossil fuel expansion, which could eventually dry up funding to those projects. You can build a fossil-free portfolio with our nationwide network of socially responsible investing financial advisors, which you can find on greenpages.org. Though our list of financial products and services, and by encouraging your faith organization, that's us, or alma mater to divest. I don't think we have any, do we, Gay? Yeah. Improve your insulation. That seems like an easy thing. Use LED lighting. LED lighting uses 90% less electricity than incandescent bulbs and half as much as compact fluorescents. They convert electrons to photons, effectively using electricity to create light without giving off heat, which wastes energy. Switch your home to LED lights. Will reduce your cooling bills. They also last longer than other bulbs, so choosing them will bring down your long-term savings. Rethink transportation. Overhauling the world's transportation systems, both commercial and personal, would save as much CO2 as 1 billion acres of regenerative agriculture. Commercial trucks alone account for 6% of the world's emissions. So buying local helps, so people don't have to truck your food from California. That helps, it makes a big difference. Go to the farmer's market, grow your own. Recycle. For example, recycled aluminum products use 95% less energy than creating new ones. About 50% of recycled materials come from households. If that number were increased to 65%, home recycling could prevent 2.8 gigatons of carbon emissions. Now, I'm just throwing all these numbers at you, and you all know this stuff. It's not like I'm telling you something you don't know. But pick one thing and take that home. One thing. Buy less. Like maybe this should be the Christmas where we give people experiences instead of stuff. Just a thought. Choosing to buy less or not at all is the original mantra for saving money. Add refuse into the 3 R's you've already heard of: reduce, reuse, recycle, refuse. Steps and impact numbers are adapted. Everything I told you is from a thing called Project Drawdown. You can find it on the internet, and from Green American Magazine. By doing as Leah Balta suggests, by identifying the essential and eliminating the rest, I believe we can work less, love more, want less, spend less, and end up happier in the process. Do what you can. Every little bit helps. Thank you.
Now let an offering be taken to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope. For we are now the keepers of the dream. This church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation each week to support important nonprofit organizations with which we work. This month, we are proud to support the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. The UUSC is a nonprofit non-sectarian associate member organization of the Unitarian Universalist Association that works to provide disaster relief and promote human rights and social justice around the world. Please be as generous as you can. For our virtual viewers, if you wish to make an offering, you can mail your check, or for your convenience, you can donate online. On our homepage at brazos-uu.org, you can find our mailing address. At the bottom and at the top, you will see a Donate Here link. In the chat box, you will see that link now. We give thanks for these gifts have been given, for those we receive, and for each other. May your generosity return to you tenfold.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all everything that's far away, for the time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered
Now, please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again.
Remember the way of the wind, and breathe and blow. Remember the way of the fire, sparkle and glitter and glow. Remember the way of the water, and ebb and flow. Remember the way of the earth, and grow. Y'all go in peace. We'll have announcement slides up here. Join us for coffee and discussion. And thank you for coming.